up, dragons? I'm back. So I'm actually here to do my June reading wrap up. I will be honest, June was a chaotic month. June had a lot going on between the amazing readathon, the last month of school, and I traveled to San Diego, so it was a lot. But because of the amazing readathon, I was really diligent in my reading and my listening. So I read 25 things. You're gonna see the last 10 things that I read. But yeah, if you want to see the other books that I read, go check out my mid-month wrap-up. I was actually pretty good at doing that. On average, I read 6,497 pages. I read 216 pages a day, which basically I finished a book every 2 days because that's how the prompts went. My average page count was 259. I did have a lot of small books for Face Off. I read like 10 things that weekend. I read a ton of fantasy, which is no shock because I'm on Team Fantasy, so anything I was reading was trying to be fantastical in some way. I read 7 books at Wrap, 10 from authors I read before. I had 4 5 stars, 15 4 stars, and 6 3 stars. So I had some books that I really did like, but a lot of it was just like very like middle road books. And with an average star rating of 4.92. I read 8 physical, I read 3 audiobook. I continued in 7 series, I completed none, and I caught up with 2, which is pretty good. But when I do caught up, it means the book is not coming out this year. So like I have finished the book for this year. Some people do it a little bit differently. I read no arcs, which will be drastically different next month because I just came back from ALA. I read 3 from Audible, 5 from KU. A lot was thanks to Face Off. By the way, Team Fantasy came in last place, so, but we did our best. I read 0 from NetGalley. Sorry, NetGalley. I read 10 owned and 2 from Everand. I read 3 YA fantasy, 5 fantasy, 3 middle grade fantasy, 1 contemporary, 4 graphic novels, 2 manga, 5 short stories, 1 romance, and 1 mystery. So that was pretty good. And yeah, so I'm gonna start off with the 2 books that I read for Face Off that I finished in this. One was Get Thee Off My Lawn, and I will attach a photo here. I was really craving some Bridgerton vibes. I had just finished Bridgerton season 3 and nothing was giving me vibes, so I picked up this. I didn't love it as much as I was hoping, so I only gave it 3.5 stars. Like, it was okay. I think I rounded up to 4, but if you want a quick and dirty historical romance time, this one was like a 3.5 star read for me. It was fun, it was quick, really was hard to feel that connected to the characters, but I had a fun time. I would definitely read more about this author in the future though, because I enjoyed it. The next book definitely scratched my Bridgerton itch a little bit more, and that was Desert Island Duke by Kate Bateman. I will attach a photo here. A 4-star book for me. I liked it. It had like one of my favorite tropes, which is, you know, friends to something, friends to enemies to more, and I like that. I like that they had a history. There was a little bit of an amnesia trope. It was like a desert island, so it was getting me ready for summer. It was quick, it was steamy, it was fun. I definitely want to go back and read more by Kate Bateman in the future, and maybe try to read a couple more physical historicals, because I don't ever really physically read them. I mostly listen to them, but this one was a fun time. I gave it 4 stars. So the next book I read, those I read for Face Off. A Prompt for a Crown Chai, I think I read for a sightseeing prompt. I'm pretty sure I did. And this was like a book that had a plane, train, or automobile on the cover, and it had like a little cart. But this was a sequel. Actually, I caught up on a series. I don't know if this is gonna be like the end of it, but it's the Monk and Robot series. I'll attach a photo here. This was just a fun read. Like, I really liked it. I like Becky Chambers' writing style quite a bit. I like these 2 characters. It was quick. I read it and I had a fun time. I do like how this book really expanded our character's world. It took us in a very, very different environment and different setting. It was fun. I liked it and I enjoyed it. I don't have much to say about it, but I had a fun time with it and I gave it 4 stars for review. And the next book I picked up, I don't remember what staff it was, but I know that it had to do with gods or religions in the title. So I picked up The Sunbearer Trials by Aiden Thomas. I can't talk too much about this because it is in another vlog. It's like a secret project, but I just said I have read this. I'm not going to talk too much about it. I'm just going to say that I did read it. I will mention it, but I'm not going to talk too much about it because my review will be in that. But yeah. I can't talk too much about this yet, but just know I will have a very, very comprehensive review. I just wanted to mention it for the stats. So, but I did read this. I don't want to tell you what I thought about it, but I did read it. And then the next book I read was for a prompt that had like a light source on the cover. This was harder than I thought. So I picked up Brood and Magic by Jenna Wolfhart. I'll attach a photo here. Like a really, really fun one. I gave this 4.5 stars. I really like this story, but it basically follows the sister of the character from the previous book. We got more dragons in this story. It definitely had cozy fantasy vibes. It had a plot that I liked. That's the thing I need with my cozy fantasy, and I hope these books that I just showed in my recent TBR have a substantial plot, because this one did have one and I liked it. And it was just fun. There was dragons in this story. It definitely scratched my dragon itch, which I was really excited for. The characters was fun. It was a fun romance. It was quick, and I had a fun time with it, and it fit the prompt perfectly. So yeah, the next book I read was for a sightseeing prompt. Was the 4th book in the series. So I picked up Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. At this point, you will have seen a lot of content about Bridgerton because I'm currently obsessed. And I gave this book 5 stars. I don't think it holds up as much on reread, but I like the trope. I think the characters were good. I just think I'm just trying to look at it as a novel. I'm not trying to look at it as adaptation. What do I think did better? Probably the adaptation, and just in my eyes, because I feel like it just had more time with the characters, but I liked it. I gave it 5 stars when the first time I read it. It was a fun read, and I liked seeing the original story and rereading it and kind of comparing and contrasting. But go check out my vlog where I kind of dissect the story a little bit more, but I did give it 5 stars. So, yeah. If I had to be a little bit critical, I would give it 4.5, because I think the end was not my favorite, but that's okay. And then the next book that I wound up reading was Greenwild by Pari Thomas. I don't remember what leg it was, but I know it had to have a book that read like 5 different colors on the cover, I think. So this one was fun. I don't think it was my favorite. I think there was a lot happening in the story, and I felt like nothing was developed. I think that the characters were fun. It gave me Secret Garden vibes, which is exactly what I wanted. And I had a fun time. I do have the sequel on my Kindle, so I may get to it eventually. But yeah, it was fun. I felt like there was a lot happening in this story about a main character. She was living with her mom. Her mom winding up having to go on an adventure. She wanted to go to this boarding school, and then she got sucked into this fantastical land and is kind of being used to kind of uncover what happened to her mom and people that are going missing. So I gave it 3.5 stars for review. I rounded up to 4. It was a fun read. It just wasn't a new favorite. And then this is where my reading took a bit of a turn, because this is where I started traveling. So I only did the last 2 legs, which I feel a little bit bad because I probably could have read a lot more if I was home, but travel called. So for the last leg, I had to read a book that had, well, the second to last leg, I had to read a book that had water on the cover. So I picked up The Queen of Blood by Sarah Beck Durst. I would have shown you my copy, but it's in a box that's coming to me in the mail because I had to ship everything I owned because I had too many books. But I had to read a book that had water on the cover, and this was pretty much my plane book. I read it on the plane and the first day that I was there, and then I picked up the audio so I could like listen to it as I was running errands. I actually listened to this when I was in the San Diego Zoo. I'm really happy that I did that because I don't think it would have got read and I wouldn't have been able to help my team at all. But it also was a host favorite, and that was really, really important to me. So here's a photo. This was a fun book. I think it was definitely more of a high fantasy. It had a lot of time jumps, but you basically follow this character who kind of gets inducted into this magical school, and she kind of has to uncover what's happening. There's a lot of political upheaval. There's a lot of characters. There's romance. It was fun. The time jumps made it a little bit hard to feel that connected to the characters, so that's like only my critique. But I had a fun time. I definitely would go back and read the other books in the series, and I enjoyed it. But yeah, I don't have a lot of memories of the story, and I think that's because I just had to read it so quickly. That's sort of the danger with a readathon. You're always kind of crushing stuff, and I feel like I just need a bit of a mental break. So that'll be why I'm taking July off from official readathons. Some Patreons will happen, but nothing like really, really critical. So let's get into the last book I read in the month, and that is Magic Lies and Deadly Pies. This was Leandra from Leandra TBR Zero, her host favorite. Here is a photo. And I gave this book 4 stars. It was a fun, cozy mystery with a magic element to it. It was fun. Sorry, my mom. It was a fun, cozy mystery. Definitely had more magic than I was expecting. I probably could have counted this as like a magic book or a fantasy book for like readathon, but I didn't. But it had like a fun premise. It had a main character who could use her magic to kind of make pies, to kind of infuse it whatever she wants. And she could also kill people with her pies, which I thought was really interesting. And I had a fun time with it. I definitely want to go and read book 2 when I get a chance. But yeah, I had a fun time this month. It was so crazy and so busy. I still don't feel like I'm ready to like sit down and relax yet. But I'm really excited to make content for you guys this summer. So I'm going to go get to reading and I'll talk to you guys soon.